Oh yeah. Mm. All right. Let's go, Cubs fans. Welcome in. Welcome in. It is AJ, your average fan here. Check it out, man. We got a game to talk about, and boy, was it a good one. Um, Allergies, excuse me. Jesus. All right. I think it passed. Holy Jesus. I am so sorry about that. Good Lord. All right. Let's try that again. Welcome back, Cubs fans. It is AJ, your average fan here today. We got us a game to talk about, and boy, was it a fun one. Cade Horton has a pretty decent game pitching wise. The bullpen definitely locked it down, and PCA has himself a day. If I am sniffling quite a bit, I apologize. I'm still trying to get over this allergy crap, and boy, it just doesn't want to let up. This is just ugh. Anyways, yeah, the Cubs absolutely just manhandled the White Sox 13-3. And I think it is fair to say that this is what happens when you have PCA or Kyle Tucker performing in the lineup in a meaningful way because um, obviously the score reflects that, and PCA is responsible for six of these runs. Yes, count it, six of these runs. The White Sox get on the board early. They jump out to a 2-0 lead, and then the Cubs just went off in the second inning, grabbed six of their 13 runs, a three-run homer courtesy of Pete Crow Armstrong. The Sox gain one more in the third and then don't score again after that. The Cubs add on in the sixth with two. They add on in the seventh with two, and three more in the eighth. Yeah, so Ballesteros in the bottom of the second reaches on a fielder's choice. Michael Bush scored, and Kelly moved on over to third, so that got the Cubs on the board. Nico Horner ties it on a fielder's choice. The White Sox defense really just falling apart today in just about every facet of the game. There was two fielder's choices that should have ended the inning for them, and the Cubs scored on both of those plays. So good to see that the Cubs offense is right back to where they should be, taking advantage of defensive errors. We've seen the Cubs do this against really good teams. It's good to see them do this against a bad team in the White Sox. And then Pete Crow Armstrong on a three-run homer puts the Cubs up 5-2. Suzuki doubles. That puts the Cubs up 6-2. Miguel Vargas hit his second home run of the day. That got the White Sox up to three. And then in the sixth, PCA singled. Nico Horner scored. That puts him up to seven. And then Suzuki out on a sacrifice fly. That puts the Cubs up on eight because PCA scored. That was a very shallow sacrifice fly, too, mind you. And PCA, with his wheels, just hustled it straight down the third baseline. Um, PCA singled on a really, really weird PC. I mean, from the seventh on, it was just really odd ball placement that was happening for the Cubs. And Nico Horner singled on a line drive to center fielder Luis Robert. Uh, Ballesteros and Nico Horner scored. That put the Cubs up to 10. In the eighth, Dansby Swanson on a sacrifice fly allowed Suzuki to score. That puts them up to 11. And then Ballesteros gets his first major league hit, driving in both Bush um, or I'm sorry, just driving in Bush, and Kelly slid on over to third. That puts the Cubs up to 12. And then Nico Horner grounds into a force out, and Carson Kelly scores with the final line 13-3. As we look at the box score here, nothing really surprising out of the Cubs here today. PCA again 4 for 5, scored 2 runs, 6 RBIs himself on the day. Again a 3-run blast courtesy of that. He's inching his way closer and closer to 300. You love to see it. He was kind of slumping a little bit in this leadoff spot. I just don't think that he's built for it. I think that, somewhere between when he's hitting with all that power, I think that's somewhere between 4 and 6 is a very good spot for PCA, especially with his speed. I like him in that spot. I think behind Suzuki or Bush is a very good spot for him realistically. But with Happ out, obviously you're putting somebody on with speed up at the top of the order. So if he's not hitting a home run, he could stretch singles into doubles quite easily. So I do understand, putting him in that spot. So I do like that quite a bit. So yeah, inching closer and closer to 300. Kyle Tucker goes 2 for 5 today, no strikeouts, which is awesome to see. He brings his batting average up just a tick. His OPS is at 906. Oh yeah, by the way, PCA brought his OPS back up to an 882 today. So his OPS is on the climb again. Suzuki goes 2 for 4 today with 2 RBIs. He brings his average back up to a 246 and an 882 OPS. These are really good things to see out of him too. Michael Bush, he went 1 for 3 today with a strikeout, sitting at 255 and an 831 OPS. Carson Kelly, 2 for 4 today with a walk and a strikeout. His average 299 with an OPS of 1068. Carson Kelly just finding ways to produce for the Chicago Cubs. You absolutely love to see it. Dansby Swanson, 1 for 4 today with 2 Ks. One on an absolutely ugly breaking pitch that just, I absolutely fooled him. That ball just dropped off the table, and it fooled him. It really did. But, 246 average with a 759 OPS. These numbers are climbing in a hurry. He has been on fire the last 10 to 12 games. You just want to see him keep on producing there. Bruhan got a pinch hit, but he didn't post anything. Ballesteros 1 for 4 today with a walk and 2 RBIs. So that puts him at a 125 with a 347 OPS. Nico Horner 2 for 5 today. Scored 3 runs with an RBI. No walks, no strikeouts. 278 and a 662. I'm ready for Matt Shaw to come back because John Birdie went 0 for 3 with 3 Ks today, 213 with a 512 OPS. Lopez wound up pinch hitting for him at later in the game. He got 2 at-bats, a single strikeout. The totals today, you have 13 runs on 15 hits, 12 RBIs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. The Cubs doing exactly what they need to do on offense. And like I said, this is the big thing, with Dansby Swanson going down in the order, at least when Ian Happ was still in the lineup, him being down closer to that 7-8 spot, it really made all the difference when you had that production out of PCA and Kyle Tucker up in the order. But you also got Suzuki. He's up there and he's producing. You have Michael Bush up there. He's still producing, even though he was on a little bit of a skid for a little while. He's starting to come back around. And then you got Kelly kind of right smack in the middle there. But yeah, if we look at the pitching today, Horton, 5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 3 runs, 3 earned, 2 Ks, 2 home runs. Listen, it didn't look good early, if I'm being honest. It really looked like he was going to struggle. It looked like in that first inning it was going to be a long laboring day, but he got through 5. He settled in, got through 5, and again, only allowed 3 earned runs, which is plenty enough when your offense goes and puts up 13. You look at Palencia, he posted an inning today, 1 hit, didn't allow a run, a 129 ERA for him, which is excellent. Thielbar allowed 1 hit, nothing else, 293 ERA. Good to see that he's being consistent still. Presley went in an inning, allowed a hit, a strikeout, bringing his ERA down to a 6.46. Quite a ways to go for him before I put him in that circle of trust again. But if you put him out there in either these garbage innings or maybe a low leverage situation, I am okay with that as long as he keeps trending upward, obviously, because who else do you really have to plug into his spot? Because you need Hodge in high leverage eighth or ninth inning situations. So you keep getting Presley out there to at least get him some work so that he could find control of his pitches again. I'm okay with that, especially if he's posting scoreless innings like that. I'm all for it. Merriweather, he went and pitched a scoreless inning as well with a strikeout, bringing his ERA down slightly to a 4.76 ERA. Yeah, he's on the outside looking in the circle of trust again as well. He just had, 3 or 4 outings in a row there where he had a really hard time in high leverage situations, finding, the strike zone or um, missing bats. And, for somebody of Merriweather's caliber and how he was producing for the Cubs, last year and at the beginning of the year, you really want to see him get his command back under control and create that swing and miss because I still believe that Thielbar, Merriweather, um, Presley Hodge is going to be the way to go later in the season. So let him turn that around in these blowout games as well. I'm okay with that. So your totals: 9 innings pitched. You allowed 11 hits, only 3 runs. No walks today. 4 strikeouts, 2 home runs. You love to see it. Again, I think that this is another good step for Horton. He is now 2-0. He won in his first game. He now wins in his first start. Excuse me. So, again, that's just another step forward. If you find, if you could just not leave that hanger up in the zone for some home runs or potentially be just a little bit more efficient, maybe go 6 innings, I think that would be the next step for him. But again, excellent work out of what I saw out of Cade Horton. Extremely, extremely impressed. I mean, he's got stuff. He's got stuff. He's just got to find a little bit of a way to work a little bit more efficiently. That is the difference between AAA and the big leagues. You can definitely have stuff that is effective in AAA, but once you get to the big leagues, it's all about how efficient you can be with your pitches. And I think he will learn that and learn that fast. I have no problem with him, allowing 7 hits, 3 runs on 3 homers, um, simply because you were still able to stretch out 5 innings. And I think that he might be a little bit pitch capped right now while he kind of gets used to the flow of the big leagues, obviously. So, I think the more that you see him become more efficient with those pitches, you'll see Council let him go 6 innings or 85 plus pitches. So, again, excellent stuff there. And then during the game, we had updates on both Ian Happ and Shota Imanaga. Ian Happ and Shota are both throwing, and they are both throwing well. For Ian Happ, it will be batting practice to see how he feels in his swings before they make a determination on if they're going to send him out on a rehab assignment or not. But it sounds like, regardless, he will come off of the IL. Tuesday, I think, is the day that he is eligible to come off. So I think that with Ian Happ, um, obviously you want to see what a couple of days of batting practice looks like, get him swinging from both sides. And obviously, if you could avoid a rehab assignment with him, that would be preferred, just to get him right back up in the top of the lineup, uh, even if it would be smarter to send him on a rehab. I don't. Ian Happ is so steady at the plate I don't think that is warranted for a guy like him, especially on just a 10-day. Especially, if he's been doing workouts and throwing program and light swings. I think that simple batting practice would simply be enough for him, or maybe a live BP, on the day that he's eligible to come off the IL. That seems like it would be a pretty smart move to me as well. And then Imanaga, heard really good things on him. It sounds like he is trending very much in the right direction with that hamstring pull. It was a low grade one, which is good stuff. They say that he is throwing and it is comfortable. Do I foresee him going on a rehab assignment? Maybe a one start rehab assignment or a two start rehab assignment, maybe. For him, I think that him and Happ actually get off of the IL right around the same time because Imanaga went on a few days beforehand. Excuse me, allergies kicking my ass. But either way, it is extremely, extremely good news for both Ian Happ and Imanaga. They are trending in the right direction. Tomorrow, another 120 game. I love this matchup for tomorrow. It is Boyd 3-2 with a 2.78 ERA versus Burke 2-4 with a 4.15 ERA. And Boyd has simply just been really good at Wrigley. I think again this is going to be a great matchup for the Cubs hitters. I really think that you know I think that the Cubs have another chance to jump on them early and just kind of do their thing on the offense. I'm looking for a big day out of Kyle Tucker. I really would like to see him get a little bit of his power back. An interesting note was brought up in the broadcast about him that they were just not giving him fastballs because they figured out that that's what he was hitting. So they're hitting him with a lot of off-speed stuff. So I think that once Tucker figures out how to catch up to those off-speed stuff, he'll be right back to where he was, and I'm not worried about him in the slightest. God, sorry, I have to keep itching my nose. But yeah, tomorrow Boyd versus Burke, 120 game. I will actually be home for this game, so we should be able to start the post game podcast right away after the game as the ninth out or the 27th out happens. Really quick, right before we wrap up here, uh, we will just look at the standings and see where everything sits with the Cubs win. Obviously, subject to change. The rest of our division plays later tonight, but the Cubs move to 26-19, 578 win percentage. They are now 5-5 in their last 10. The also good news about that is you improve your home record there just a little bit. You get another win. Your home record is now better than your road record. So you are now 1.5 over St. Louis, pending what happens in their game tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the Cubs dominate the White Sox 13-3. Love to see it. And we will be back tomorrow after the action to talk about tomorrow's game. I hope you guys have a good rest of your evenings, a good tomorrow. And yeah, we will talk to you guys tomorrow. Later, Cubs fans.